Fox News up to?
Well, it looks like Christmas came early for Republicans.
Oh, Newsom defends healthcare for illegals. That's one of the redeemable things that Gavin Newsom has done as of late, is to say that healthcare for all means healthcare for all, including our immigrant neighbors.
Out of that, because I believe in universal healthcare. Others
I don't think he believes in universal healthcare.
We failed on the border. We need to own up to that. Largest border crossing in the Western Hemisphere in my state. Spent $1 billion+ to do migrant centers, try to put a lid on things. And it was quite critical, but I tried to do it in a respectful way of the Biden administration. We failed on the border.
And
yeah, he's been beefing with Elon Musk too. Yeah, so we'll talk about Gavin Newsom real quick because that's an important part of the story as well. That's another big story of the day. So Gavin Newsom has been duking it out with Elon Musk. He did this thing. He went on Ezra Klein to do the fuck. I'm out of focus. I don't know why. Okay, it's fixed now. To do politics the right way. Okay, he went on Ezra Klein to do politics the right way. And in that conversation, he brought up a bunch of things. Some things that were actually redeemable, like the universality of healthcare. Not that he actually truly believes in it, doesn't matter. And also something about Elon Musk and Elon Musk's daughter, friend of the show, Vivian.
Get into transports. That's an issue no one wants to hear about because 80% of the people listening disagree with my position on this. But it comes from...
Gavin shouted out Atrioc in the interview with Ezra. Gavin Newsom mentioned on the podcast that Atrioc made him think about affordability. That's crazy. I mean, that's awesome for Atrioc, but also you probably shouldn't admit that. Like, if you've been a fucking governor for how long you've been a governor, that is an insane thing to admit. Okay? That's crazy. They're underselling it. The Atrioc interview was a big piece of the interview. That's fucking dope. I mean, that's dope for Atrioc, but it's just kind of, it kind of shows how out of touch you are as a governor of a major state that is the fucking 5th largest economy on the planet by its own. It's insane to me that you're like, oh yeah, I was talking to a Twitch streamer, and that's when I realized affordability is kind of a big deal.
People's lived experience, and we missed that. And with Atrioc, he kept bringing that back. That systemically for decades, this economy has not been working. 10% of people own 2/3 of the wealth. Half the consumer spending is that top 10%.
Bro, this guy might be president. Bro, I got Brandon G.H. Ewing got this guy.
If Newsom runs on universal healthcare, can he win? No, I think I've said this already. He's getting a lot of favor from liberals right now. It's so funny because if he knows Atrioc, he 1000% knows you. What a dodge by him. No. He has brought me up in a favorable way as well. He, however, has not. Like, I've talked to people in his team about having him on. I've talked to people in his team about having him on, but they're ducking me. They're steady ducking me. Yeah, he's glazed me before publicly when Connor asked about whether he knows who I am or not. But this isn't about that. On the one hand, this is great. This is a great look for Atrioc. Okay. This is an incredibly bad look for Gavin Newsom, though, because a governor should be thinking about affordability before a recent interview that he did with a Twitch streamer. Okay? A governor should not be admitting in a public platform that a conversation with Atrioc was what made him really think about affordability. That's kind of crazy.
And it might be president to realize that. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy.
If he ran on universal healthcare, stronger corporate regulations, affordability, and anti-Israel stance, he would win. I think in the upcoming elections, in the presidential elections, the next time around, I mean, who knows what the world would look like? We don't even know what the midterms are going to look like. And by that, I don't mean like, are the Democrats going to win it in the midterms? They will if the midterms do happen. but I just mean like, I cannot tell you what the next couple of years are going to look like because I know what this past year has looked like. Right? But I can tell you right now what the top line issues will be most likely in the upcoming elections and what a winning candidacy would look like. Whether you want to call it affordability or not doesn't matter. Universal health care, okay? Medicare for all, universal health care. And punishing corruption. An anti-corruption candidacy will do insane numbers, okay? Because a lot of average Joes recognize how bad things have gotten, okay? Any agenda that will tackle affordability from the perspective of healthcare, first and foremost, and say, we're going to fix this. The system is broken. Universal healthcare. We're doing universal healthcare, and you're going to like it. Any candidacy that tackles the housing market crisis, which is Gavin Newsom's weakest point, which is why I think Gavin Newsom will be looked at nationally in a poor fashion, because that is his number one weakest sore spot, okay? Any campaign that runs on Medicare for all, increasing the availability of housing, not with a public-private partnership, I hope it with actual government initiatives, okay? Any candidate that runs on tackling corruption, and by that I mean like actually charging financial criminals, okay, and punishing financial criminals with an anti-Israel slant would, and also an anti-ICE position as well, with focusing on the humanity of migrants, especially because if things continue going the way that they are, by the time the midterms come around, people are going to be much more negative on the anti-immigrant white nativist agenda of this administration. They would do very well. The problem with Gavin Newsom, I don't know if you could explain why so many Gavin haters in the chat. What do you mean? There are a lot of people from California, myself included. Gavin Newsom is, has been a pretty bad governor overall. There are, obviously, in comparison, as a blue state governor, he is, far better than some of these other governors. But with the amount of power that Gavin Newsom has, with the mandate that he has gotten over and over again from the voting public in California, he has consistently squandered any and every opportunity to expand on public transit. He has consistently squandered any and every opportunity to tackle the homelessness crisis born out of the housing market because he is in the pocket of the real estate developers. Sure, he has a very difficult job, but the reality of the matter is, he's Mr. Veto as well. He has used his veto power to consistently strike down bills that the state legislature pushes for, including vetoing Medicare for all in the state of California. Okay. Vetoed an analysis of data center bills, to name a few. He also has, instead of trying to tackle the housing market crisis in his state, because California is one of the least affordable states in the country, broadly, because there's a lot of densely populated areas in California. We got Los Angeles, we got San Francisco, and then beyond. Even San Diego is experiencing these issues now. Gavin Newsom has consistently refused to address this pivotal problem, and that has exploded the homeless population in the state. So most people that are not in California, and even people that are in California that look to Gavin Newsom, see him as the guy who is basically decriminalized illegal activities and has allowed homeless people to run amok. There is some truth to that as far as like not tackling the homelessness crisis. Okay. Obviously, most people's position is incredibly reactionary on this, though. They don't, they refuse to understand that this comes from the housing market. The main issue is the affordability of housing. When people get priced out of the available housing, they become homeless. That's the number one cause for homelessness. But unfortunately, a lot of fucking dipshits assume that it's because they're, morally impure or they've just done something wrong, and that's why they became homeless, and now they're all drug addicts or whatever the fuck. And their solution is to criminalize homelessness further, right? And that's precisely what Gavin Newsom has tried to do. Instead of dealing with homelessness as an issue born out of material conditions, Gavin Newsom has decided to tackle the homelessness problem with increasingly more militant approaches, including but not limited to participating in a sweep of a homeless encampment. So the rest of the world, the rest of the country sees Newsom as a guy presiding over some of the worst homelessness crises that you've ever seen. And the number one way to attack him would be, don't make the rest of the country look like California. They'll just keep running Skid Row photos from Skid Row, videos from Skid Row over and over again and be like, this is what your Iowa town is going to look like if Gavin Newsom becomes the president.